Like anyone who does anything ever, writers who don't take steps to do their job or their hobby in a healthy and sustainable way risk poor health, both physical and mental, injury, yes, writer's risk is a thing, and even death. That last one's inevitable, but let's not rush the conclusion.
No fluff writing advice. Cut the fluff!
Firstly, unless you're the standing desk type, writing productively involves a lot of sitting, so much sitting, an almost psychotic amount of sitting. Therefore, you need a comfy chair. I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy the most aggressively ergonomic office chair in existence, the type you'd find in a NASA rocket, but you should find a chair that feels right for you. Personally, I like to write on the couch. It's comfy and I can move into different positions. I can even lie down if I wear myself out from writing too hard. For years, people said I was crazy for writing on the couch, or writing from the couch, I guess. Writing on the couch sounds like vandalism. Yeah, so people said I was crazy. Isn't that bad for your back? I don't know, I'm not a spinerologist, clearly, but to me, a couch or armchair feels better than an office chair. Finally, eventually, Brandon Sanderson provided some vindication by admitting, yes, admitting, like it's a crime, that he writes from an armchair and has zero back problems. Knowing how much the guy writes, that's quite an achievement. My point is, write where you feel comfortable. If you need to write hanging upside down like a fruit bat, so be it. Don't let anyone tell you that's wrong, even if it is very wrong. When writing from your location of choice, it's important to get up and move around occasionally. I know some people can write from a treadmill, which is probably ideal, but some of us are so bad at multitasking, it would likely end in disaster. Good way to end up in a treadmill fail compilation video.
Uh,
Anyway, when doing anything that requires you to sit for extended periods, such as writing, playing video games, or simply staring at a wall, you should get up and move often. Funnily enough, or concerningly enough, Safe Work Australia explicitly states that over 7 hours of sedentary behaviour, that is, sitting, per day is too much. And then they go on to list all the health problems associated with too much sitting, including cancer. What? You're saying don't sit for more than 7 hours a day or my health will suffer immensely? Great, that's less than the typical workday. Essentially, Safe Work Australia, a government agency, is saying the average workday is bad for your health. Who says desk jobs aren't risky? The good news is you can mitigate some of the damage by moving whenever possible. Get up regularly, rest those screen strained eyes, stretch, do some squats or jumping jacks, pop a backflip. Just make sure you stick the landing. Turns out, botched backflips are also bad for your health. Speaking of movement, just because you're a writer, it doesn't mean you need to look like one. You know the look, there are several to choose from. At one end of the spectrum, you've got Stephen King. At the other, George R. R. Martin. But times have changed. Writers are now allowed to eat well and work out. For real. To balance out all that sitting, you should exercise regularly, daily, hourly if possible. That's what we're built for. The trick is to find a type of physical activity you enjoy. Lift weights, run, walk, swim, climb a mountain, fight a bear, fuck a goat, whatever, as long as you're frequently getting physical. Also, if you want to go the distance as a writer, as in not burn too bright too early and burn out, don't use cocaine to write like old school Stephen King. With that said, he wrote some of his most iconic books while off his skinny little tits on drugs. So let's start a petition. Get Stephen King back on coke. Alcohol is another one to use responsibly. Too many aspiring writers live like Bukowski but don't produce anything good. No, you can't drink your way to genius. The one performance enhancer I do recommend, if you're already a user, is caffeine. Good way to supercharge the old thought organ. Of course, you don't want to over caffeinate, but coffee and tea do have some additional health benefits when used at reasonable levels. It's just that some people have an unreasonable interpretation of reasonable. When spending your days writing, don't forget to step outside occasionally. Get some sunlight, fuel that all important vitamin D production. Also, get out and socialize when you can. It's not healthy to spend your days alone with your characters, your fictional page people. Or, depending on how you feel about real people, maybe it is better. Stress and anxiety are big ones for writers or really anyone who does anything ever. But people who put themselves and their work out there publicly open themselves up to new potential sources of stress. When you publish a book, you'll likely get some bad reviews. If you put yourself out there on social media, you'll likely get some negative comments, straight up hate sometimes, whether justified or not. I'll do a full video on author stress and anxiety at some point, but the no fluff version is you need to be okay with receiving criticism at every end of the spectrum, from constructive to destructive to downright apocalyptic. As some bloke named Elbert Hubbard said, to escape criticism, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. Oh, there you go, problem solved. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy this video, hit subscribe anyway, and hate watch my content. That's always fun.